All right, so they shut off the camera on my phone as I was crossing the street. There was a young lady wearing a yellow jacket. As soon as she see me, she started touching herself, sticking her hands up. And then there is so then there was another woman standing with her kids, with her child, and she sees me and she starts doing these hand signals, what have you. Just as this guy here wearing all black, he had a white tissue in his hands. Oh, he's a pastor. Yeah, you don't know, Christianity is fake. Jesus doesn't exist. He never existed. Brainwashed motherfuckers. Right? So yeah. So I was saying that I was getting ready to leave the house, went to use the bathroom, and then started hearing these police sirens after having heard them all day. Damn, bro, it's a lot of money you got there.
What's up, bro?
See, it doesn't fade. It doesn't change, right? From time to time they keep counting money in front of me. See, they had the pastor or the preacher, right, trying to tell me if I believe in Christianity, that I get a job, I get money. And I listen. The truth is more important to me than your job and your money. And this is what the majority of black people have been bred into, right? And because the powers that be know that the information, the truth is out there, they want us to maintain the lie, because that lie is based off of white supremacy. Yes, Christianity is based off of white supremacy. Look at her, white lady, making her hands. I was about to make the statement, but I noticed that my phone, the recording that I was doing, my phone the camera was shut off. So I was saying, so my nieces, right? I should say my niece, my son's daughter, and my other niece's daughter, who has been at my house. Sometimes when they see me, they will make their hands in this manner. We're gonna cross the street, but so they make, it's kind of like what gay men back in the day used to do with their hands, how they would walk with their hands, when their hands are bent down. So like when a black man walking, he's walking like that, yeah, he's gay, right? So they would send me this subliminal message about how they made Pam gay and all that stuff. This is the three teams that they use, right? One is either she's gay, or she's dating a white man, or her ex, which, like I said, I don't really care. I don't really give a damn about. But this is what they do. They try to get you emotionally. They try to manipulate you emotionally. So whether they try to use people that you love, people that you care about, this is what they'll do. And so they're constantly sending these type of subliminal messages, right? And then Pam started doing the same thing too with the hands, And I've said this a long time ago. When I found the evidence that she was cheating and stuff like that, it was she had taken a Uber from a hotel in Manhattan, but she didn't go home. She went to the Uber took her to her friend's house. So I'm saying to myself, well, why didn't she go home? Okay. And then after that, going to school, the perps would be standing across from the downtown Marriott, downtown Brooklyn, and they will look at it, and then they will stick their finger in their ears. And so that led me to believe that they might have manipulated her or brainwashed her, but whoever she was with, went to a hotel, what have you, and that is how they manipulated her. Because after that, I noticed that this was happening a couple years ago, because before she wasn't doing a lot of things that she was doing now, and she didn't like the stuff that she's doing now. It seems more purposeful, I guess. After that, you hear the sirens. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, whatever. Because again, they don't want me talking about this stuff, right? So this is what you hear. So again, after being in the house for the most part of the day, no sirens. As soon as I get ready to go outside, they started with the sirens. And look at her touching herself again, right? So yeah, all right. So again, this is what happens, okay? All right. They always seem to be touching themselves when they see me, and again, and that is a response because they have been conditioned into that response. So yeah. So anyway, yesterday too, I was reading something, and again, it had me on remote no monitoring, and the word confidence came up in what I was reading. And as soon as I read in my mind confidence, they started with the whoop whoop. You know, so I said certain words, like I said, I got to do a video on those things, because again, it's directly related to being brainwashed against my will, against my consent. Or I should say against my consent. I did not give consent. And so now, everybody who was involved in targeting me, including family members, are trying to save their ass. Right? This is what they're doing. They are trying to save their asses. Okay? So, you know, it is what it is. And like I've said, I am going to expose it in every single way. So, they want to believe that they've won or whatever. And that's fine. Because obviously you haven't. I'm still standing. Okay? Obviously you haven't won, but again, you know, just as with psychopathic people who can't seem to take a loss, you know, particularly those in power, you know, they always got to win. Okay? So they can murder you, kill you, do whatever they want to do to you, but they're never in the wrong. You are. And they've created a program in which when they want to experiment on you is to make sure that they will win, or at least they think they will win. They think that they will get away with it. Okay? So look, as soon as I came, start walking in the park, the white guy comes and he starts walking back and forth, and he's walking back that way. Alright, so yeah. Alright, so like I said, lately I've been doing a lot of researching, and again, they don't want you to gain knowledge because knowledge is something that they are dead set against you acquiring. Why? Because of the lies that you've been programmed and conditioned with. You understand? And in order to deprogram your mind from their lies, you have to learn the truth. Now, the truth may be hard, and especially if you're a black person, okay? And again, I'm speaking to for myself, right? In my experience. And before I go on, let me just say this. I got into a little discussion with another TI on Facebook who accused me of being racist. And you see, this is what happens when racist people don't want to hear the truth, because they harbor prejudice towards me as a black person, and because they are a TI, they think me talking about my experience or the experience of black people in America is somehow, you know, that somehow I am wrong for talking about it because their experience as a TI. Now let me say this, okay, and you guys can go search this up. I'm talking to all my white TI brethren and sisters. Okay, go do some research about how black people got to this country 500 years ago, what happened to them during slavery, what happened to them after slavery, which is the 10-year Reconstruction period, then what happened to them after that 10-year Reconstruction period, which is called the Jim Crow era, right? Then go research black migration from the south to the north. Then research, right, federally mandated housing program which excluded black people. Then go research how black people who built towns, right, that were prosperous, how it was destroyed by jealous white people. Okay, then okay, research during when FDR passed the New Deal, what happened to black people during the actually, just go back to that. Go back, research the Tuskegee experiment and other experiment done by whites against black people. Then research how black men and women fought during World War II and the treatment they received when coming back home. How when FDR passed when Congress passed the GI Bill, right? What happened to those black GIs that came back from fighting for America, right? Look at how come and stand. See, I gotta tell you something. They always gotta come stand up in front of you, and you guys see this, right? They're gonna come and they're gonna stand up in front of me, okay? They could have stand up everywhere else, but I'm showing you this every time I'm at the park again, and I'm showing you guys. Sorry, let me turn it here. And I'm showing you, right, that every time I come here to sit down, they always have some Negro P and some brainwashed fool, okay, come in and stand in front of me, right? It's always gonna happen. They can stand. Look, they can stand anywhere else. Look how much space they have to stand. But no, they have to come and stand in front of me because again, this is gang stalking. This is what they do, right? This is gang stalking. This is what they do. Okay, and now she's gonna make her hands like a V, pulling on her ears. See that that sign, that V sign, supposed to mean their victory, but they no, you haven't victorious. You're not victorious. Why? Yeah, like, oh, are you stand up in front of me for your son? Oh, please. You see, she takes her phone out. Right? Oh, please. Right? We already been through this. Okay, I'm talking about me and my viewers who watch these videos that I show exactly what they do. Right? So anyway, this is what they do, and it's not gonna be the first time. Now, look. The palm fixation drill, hands behind the back, you know, look, yeah, right? So again, now here comes the Patriot theme. So you can see this kid walking in front of me, American patch flag on his jacket, right? Again, show you guys this time and time again, it doesn't stop. Anyway, so getting back to what I was saying. So now, for my white TI brothers and sisters, okay, research, right, the amount of lynching that took place, right? Research what white people did to black people after they lynched them, okay? I'm not done. There is, trust me, there is a whole lot, okay? Then I want you to go and research, right, how the United States government created the ghettos for black people, right? How they put them in inadequate, shabby housing that they built. How black people had to sometimes live in basement during their migration from the south to the north because they couldn't find housing. Okay. Meanwhile, white farmers who white farm workers who moved up north were given adequate housing. Right? Then research about the New Deal and how the housing development, building houses so white people can move into, and then for the black people who were able to make a good living, how when they went to purchase those same houses that those white people moved out of to move further out into the suburbs, okay, how black people were charged double or 3 times the amount that the white people who used to live in that house paid for it. All right, again, it's called theft, right? Theft. Then also another theft is in wages. Black people working the same job as white people would get paid a hell of a lot less. Okay, so I'm sorry if I'm talking about my experience as a black person or black people's experience in America is somehow offended you because you're a TI and you're being targeted. But black people in this country are targeted every single day. Yeah, even though they target you and I, right? But the reason for that is because they are conditioned. They are conditioned. And we all know what happened when people are hurt, people are being abused. The majority of them, if they don't get the help that they need, will turn around and do the same thing to another person. Just like a white person would too, who's been abused and hurt, right? So I don't need you guys to come and attack me for me speaking the truth, right? It may not be your truth because you're not black, so you don't experience some of the things that we go through, okay? You may experience things as a TI, yes, with the psychological harassment, stuff like that. But guess what? I go through that shit too. But guess what? In this country, that psychological program, harassment program, have been built into the system for against black people, right? So please, save the bullshit for somebody else. Here come the cops now, motherfuckers. Yeah. Look at them. Look at them. Yeah, flashing their blue lights, right? The blue lights on top. Look, the blue lights on top. So why is that? Because I speak about what it is that I'm doing. Now, there's no reason for them to flash their lights like that. It's broad daylight. You can see who they are. But again, the use of colors, right? So yeah. Anyway, so they've been trying to send me subliminal messages that as long as I continue to talk about what it is that they're doing to me, that they're going to continue to wreak havoc in my life. Well, let me just say this. See, I'm aware of the devil. And when I say the devil, I don't mean the devil who is red with horns, in which Hollywood depiction or the minds of crazy ass white Europeans, right? The so-called priests and of the Roman Catholic Church and the bishops, what have you, when they concocted this Christianity bullshit. I'm not talking about that devil. Okay? The devil is white supremacy and those who believe in white supremacy. Okay? That's the devil for us as black people. See, they got black people conditioned thinking that the devil is in the Bible or Satan, whatever. No. The devil is the white people who believe in white supremacy, who push their white supremacy agenda to try to continue to oppress us and keep us down in society and throughout the world. That's the devil to me, right? Or any other black person who would side with a white supremacist to take down another black person for speaking the truth. Yeah, they're the devil also. Okay? So anyway, so like I said, so don't come at me for speaking the truth, okay? Because you get your feelings hurt. Well, I'm a TI. It's like poor white people say, well, I don't have any white privilege. Yes, you do. White privilege doesn't mean that because you're wealthy. No. White privilege means that, hey, I could be a poor black man. You could be a poor black man. You could walk with your hood on late at night and not get harassed and beat or killed by the police or even a civilian. But me as a black person can't do that. Okay? Your privilege as a poor white person, in which that you could walk into a department store and not get followed around, whereas a well-dressed black man who's making money, right, who may be a doctor, a lawyer, a judge, what have you, walk into a store well-dressed and he's followed around. Meanwhile, a white poor person who walked to the store, clothes dirty, whatever, they don't get followed around. That's also white privilege. Okay? So like I said, stop basking in ignorance, right? And seek knowledge. When you seek knowledge and you gain wisdom, you'll be able to understand. And trust me, believe me, I sympathize with you as a white TI, just like I hope you sympathize with me as a black TI. And not also that, but I sympathize with you as a human being who is going through a difficult situation because you have been put into a program that was meant to experiment on you, right? And then they have manipulated you in the past to try to entrap you so that you wouldn't say anything, or so that they will try to use it as a bargaining tool to keep you silent. Okay? But don't live in that fear. Yes, the psychological programming is a very difficult thing to deal with. You're a human being just like I'm a human being. And our minds, especially when our minds have been broken, okay, it is a difficult task, but you have to rebuild yourself. And rebuilding yourself means that you don't ignore the truth. Rebuilding yourself, understand that how they psychologically condition you and what they're trying to make you into, so that it can serve their narrative, so that they can get away with what it is that they've done to you and I. Okay? So I'm gonna put that to rest, and that's it. So don't ever come on my Facebook page or ever make any comment on my YouTube about me being racist. Another thing too, black people cannot be racist. Let's get this thing straight. We can be bigoted, but we cannot be racist. So let's understand, and again, educate yourself on what racism really is. Racism is systematic. Okay? It is not individualistic. Yeah, there are people that are individuals who will deny me as a black person certain things. But guess what? It is a system. And it is within that system that a certain group of people operate in order to deny a particular group of people or person opportunities based on the color of their skin and based on the truth of who they are. All right, so let's go. So you see they have the when I was walking in the beginning of the video, I showed you the black pastor, the black priest, again trying to talk about they believe in this God that, okay, see these people right here, these Jewish people, okay, their religion is fictitious also, right? But guess what? See, they can walk around like they own everything because they have the economic power and they have the belief that they are God's chosen people. Okay? Which they are not. All right? Understand this. And where did they get these concepts from? Again, our African spiritual belief system, our Kemetic spiritual belief system. But we are so, as black people, we are so conditioned and so brainwashed that, you know, we are far removed from our own ancestral belief system, right? See, they can tell you where they come from, right? They may say, well, we come from Israel in the Bible, but Israel does not exist in the Bible. Israel is the name that God gave Jacob, right? And his descendants are known as Israel. It's not a land, right? But a people. And where do they get the name Israel from? Again, because their fictitious story about Moses leading them out of Egypt and blah blah, which is, you know, bullshit. But I'll get to that. So anyway, we as black people have been conditioned with the mind, with white supremacy in our mind, and it's done through religion and through what is called Anglophilia, which is the rejection of our true African self, our African state of mind, right? The rejection of that and the acceptance and adoration of anything that is European, white European, okay? And I make that distinction when I say white Europeans, okay, or what we call white Europeans today. So anyway, like I said, so the pastor, they always do this from time to time where they try to send me a message, oh, I should join the church or whatever. That's when you see the guy follow up after counting the money. You see, I understand how the trick works. Using money to get people to convert to a particular belief system for the sake of their livelihood. The Muslim did it. The Muslim didn't just brainwash people through their slavery of African people, but in places in Africa where they knew that they couldn't come in to fight those people to capture and take as slaves, they used economics. They said, well, if you want to do business with us, you have to convert into being a Muslim. And a lot of Africans did that. Just as Christians do that also. White Christians do that also. Not just slavery, all right, but forced religious indoctrination. but also through businesses. That if you wanted to do business with this group of people, you have to subscribe to their belief system. Okay? So again, you know, when you, like I said, you know, Neely Fuller said this. He says, until you understand the true nature of white supremacists and white supremacy and its purpose, right? Everything you think you know about white supremacy will only confuse you. See, black people, majority of black people think white supremacy is, oh, okay, you know, well, you know, I didn't get this job, a white man called me the N-word, you know, and then we go around calling each other the N-word, right? So they're like, hey, you know, they calling each other, or we change it to N-I-G-G-A, which is, again, another stupid shit. And then you have black people trying to make excuses about, oh, even the word Niger or whatever. You know, Niger is a country in Africa, right? Or also it's called the Niger River, right? N-I-G-G-A-R is what black people say, well, you know, we change it with an A as a term of endearment. Really? You use it as a term of endearment, but yet when you get mad at your brother, you want to fight, and you're like, I'm going to kill you, N-I-G-G-A. So now, how does it go from a term of endearment to a term of hatred? See, you see, black people are so confused mentally because of this double-minded personality we have, and black people in America, we all have multiple personality disorder, because there's that Africanness that is within us, it's in our blood, in our DNA, okay? And it conflicts every day with the white supremacists living in our mind. And you may say, well, how does that white supremacist living in your mind as a black person? Well, when you grow up in a system that teaches you all about white history, about white people are the best, they created everything, they created civilization, they took you out of Africa, you had bone in your nose, you were cannibals, you had no clothes, and all this stuff, right? And that's what they show you on TV. They don't show you the wonders and greatness of Africa and African people, right? But they show you certain places in Africa where the people have maintained their culture for over thousands of years, or 1,000 years, because they themselves were living in darkness after their ancestors fleeing the constant warring of some of their ancestral land in Africa, which is also Kemet, right? And moved down into the interior of Africa, just as how Africans migrated out of Africa, went to Asia, Europe, got cut off because of the Ice Age. And what happened? Right? They lost their sense of who they are. They lost their language. Same thing happened in Africa, and this is why we have so many different dialects in Africa, and as well as we have so many different dialects in Europe. People were cut off from one another, and so they developed their own way of speaking and their own way of language, right? So again, you have to understand this. But because of our limited mind, most people, I mean, I've tried to break out of that limited mindset and seek knowledge and do what I need to do to kick that white supremacist out of my head, right? And to accept my African, look, the palm fixation. She literally just turn her hands, and so now her hands go back to normal. See, now their hands go back to normal, because when they're walking past me, they're swinging their hands like this. I'm sorry, they're swinging their hands like this. Now look when they're walking. You know, they ain't swinging, their hands are not stretched out, right? So yeah. So again, you're not going to silence me. So guess what? If I never talk to a woman again, that's not on me, that's on you. You did this. You lied, you manipulate, you try to get me to hate my own people, my own sisters, but you've got them to hate me, which is fine. You know, like I said, you know, there's a saying that anyone that speaks the truth is going to be attacked, okay? And they're going to have a life of loneliness. What did they say? The person in a family that speaks the truth, they call them what? The black sheep. Okay? Because black people have been conditioned to attack any black person that speaks the truth. Black people have been conditioned to believe that technologies that can control a person's mind does not exist, because they believe that God is the only one that can control their mind, though their mind is not even their own, and they don't even understand it. They're like, I know no, you don't know your mind. That's why black Christians, when you talk to them about, when you tell them the truth, they run away. See, they can come and talk to me about their God and their belief system, right? They can come and talk to me about that. I won't run away. But the minute I say, well, you know what, brothers and sisters, what you've been taught is a lie, okay? That your fictitious religion, particularly the Christian religion, right, was come into its complete inception in the 1600s, right? Because before that time, okay, Europeans, particularly the poor ones, okay, couldn't read. They couldn't read. The church wouldn't allow them to read, because guess what? The church said that knowledge was only for the priest and those that are wealthy. Those are the ones that were able to buy books, because the average European couldn't even afford to buy a book. Okay? But now with this religion, this Christian indoctrination now, in its completed form, they were going to preach the word of God to, you know, the average Europeans, who they look down on. These are the wealthy, you know, the Pope, right? So like I always said, you know, not only have black people been lied to, but also white Europeans been lied to. And with the creation and invention of white supremacy, now you even have poor whites thinking that they're better than a black man who was a millionaire. Because they'll tell you, well, you know, I might be white and poor, but I'm still better than you, because at least I ain't no Nigger. Okay? Divide and conquer, right? And so when I speak my truth, I'm not trying to divide and conquer nobody. I'm speaking my truth. And you're not going to silence me for speaking my truth. I don't care who you are. So anyway, let me go to some history lesson here. Okay? Because I think black people, as well as white people, and anybody else, you know, don't understand the negative ramification of white supremacy and the belief in Christianity. At least the Christianity that we have today. Okay? And so, you know, whenever I go onto these groups that I belong in, whether it be Christian debates, atheists or what have you, or let's debate religion, the religious people don't want to debate. They don't want to debate because they don't do no research. They're always quoting from the Bible. Well, guess what? I can quote from the Bible too. Right? But I don't. When I quote from the Bible, it's not to say that this person exists or whatever. I quote to teach you, right, the lies and the truth that is in the Bible. And yes, there's truth in the Bible. I'm not saying that. Truth meaning not in terms of the actual people that supposed to claim to write the Bible or even lived at that time, because the fact is that nobody in the Bible lived at that time. Okay? It's all fictitious. Right? So I can do research. And if you do your research as a Christian, like I said, if you want to prove me wrong that Jesus Christ exists, then do the research. Go outside the Bible. Look at the documentation. Right? Go look up the Nicene Council, 325 AD. Go look at the Council of Chalcedon. Right? Go look at the Council of Ephesus. Okay? Go look at the Council of Constantinople. Again, you can find these things online on religious sites. That shows you how for over 1,000 years they debated on who Jesus is. Then they created doctrines after they debated and agreed upon, and those who didn't agree upon were excommunicated from the church. Some of them were assassinated. Right? You can go look up these things online, but they got you so afraid of your soul burning in hell, okay, that you're afraid. And this is what religion does. Religion doesn't condition you to love. It conditions you to fear more than anything else, and to attack those that don't agree with your belief system, right? So I did some research, and I was looking at what's her name, Jenny Fishburne, I think that's her name. Now here's this woman. She's white, of course, Jewish, comes from a family of Jewish scholar and Jewish archaeologists, and all these Jewish archaeologists, they'll tell you that there is no evidence, right? No historical evidence, whether it be birth records, any records of trials and stuff like that that's supposed to be happening during those times. No archaeological evidence, okay? No written evidence except for a couple mentioned by a Jewish historian named Josephus. And again, I even have both of his books, okay? And they'll tell you that most Jewish archaeologists and scholars know that these people never existed, and that the people who their ancestors that wrote the Bible, it was because they wanted to create their own belief system, okay? And I can show you guys the history, the records in Egypt before it was called Kemet before, in Egypt, written on the Medu Neter, right, which is the book, the wall of books, right, or the hieroglyphic, right, which basically give you the history. So it's on the hieroglyphics, it's in the tombs, it's in the temples of the history of Kemet. And if you want to do some serious research, right, about how they came up with their fictitious story, you guys should read Manetho's The History of Egypt. Now, Manethos was a Coptic priest, right, who wrote the history of Egypt during the Ptolemaic reign, okay? And he talks about a group of people called the Hyksos, who were called the shepherds, right? That's why you see in the Bible, they'll tell you that the Hebrews were shepherds, right? And that Moses, God sent Moses to free people from Egypt because they were slaves in Egypt. Now, there's no archaeological evidence, no written evidence that they were ever Hebrew people at that time, okay? Not only in Egyptian records, but in Greek records, these people, they were called Judeans, okay? So anyway, Manethos in his historical records talk about how the Hyksos, right, which is these European Jews that came from the Caucasus Mountain, and you should read Michael Bradley's book, Chosen People from the Caucasus Mountain, okay? Now, they conquered Kemet, right, at the time it was called Kemet, not Egypt, because the Greeks changed the name Kemet to Egypt. So this was before the Greeks invasion, right? So these Hyksos came in, conquered Kemet, and the reason why they took Kemet so easily was, again, because the Kemetic people allowed other people from different societies to come into their land, right? They were a very welcoming people. Now, there were, even before that, the Greeks, they're so-called founders of society, they're founders of math, philosophy, biology, all the stuff that the white world has lied and whitewashed. And if you go and you read, even if you read Herodotus, the Iliad, right? It speaks of the history. Now, white scholars will say, oh, it's some of it is fictitious. Yeah, but some of it is true, right? So, I'm sorry, Homer, the Odyssey, as Homer the Odyssey and Herodotus, right? So, Herodotus the Iliad, yeah, and you also read the Odyssey by Homer. So, the Greeks, Socrates, Pythagoras, who they credit as with the Pythagorean theorem, they all learned all of that from black people, black Africans. Okay? And that's the truth. But white supremacists have turned it around. They have taken our ancestors' history. I'm talking about black people now, not white people. Okay? And whitewashed it and try to erase black people's contribution from history. So anyway, so the Hyksos conquered Egypt with the most, they were, and this is the recorded words written on the Medu Neter. These people were the most vicious, evil. They basically call them barbarians because of the barbaric things that they did to the Egyptians, right? And so for over 500 years they ruled Kemet until a pharaoh, right, named Ramses, I believe. Okay, I could be wrong here because again, I don't have my notes with me, and I'm using the phone camera, so I can't even go Google it because the phone was shut off, the camera was shut off, right? Defeated them, and his son, which was called Thermos, or Tamos, or Amos. So you see the Moses. I'm gonna get to that. He drove them out of Kemet, right? He made an agreement with them that they would leave Kemet. They would take all their possessions. They would leave Kemet, and so they left Kemet and they settled in the desert, where they built a city or a town. It wasn't that big. I think it was like 240,000 of them, right? And they called it Jerusalem. All right? Now, because of their defeat, and again, these are very delusional people, because of their defeat and the shame of being defeated by a black pharaoh and by black people, right? They decided that they're not going to tell the truth. And because they've been in Kemet for 500 years, they've studied the Kemetic spiritual belief system. And that is the basis of their fictitious story. So now, Thermos or Amos became Moses. Right? So again, understand the truth and set your mind free. These people lied. Like I said, if you have black people to engage in this type of behavior against anybody, particularly one of their own. And let me tell you what white supremacy is afraid of. They're afraid of the return of the black ancestors that lives within each and every one of us. Okay? Because they understand the greatness of our ancestors. They understand it's our ancestors that developed all the sciences, all the philosophy, chemistry, biology, and they've kept that hidden from us while they gain all the knowledge and improved upon those things. And it's not something that we couldn't do. Right? Why is it you think that Europeans could never conquer Ethiopia? And again, Ethiopia is the birthplace of man. It is where the so-called Garden of Eden is. Okay? But again, they know this. And so when they created their fictitious story, right, they talk about the Garden of Eden. Right? Now get this. How many of you know that there are a lot of books that was written, because again, there are different people who created their own version of this Hebrew story. And so there were a lot of books written. Have you ever heard the book of Adam and Eve? And you can go on, you can Google it. You can probably get the PDF. I got the PDF, and I was reading it. Right? And if you read the book of Adam and Eve 2, there's a story. There's a story in there in which the devil went to tempt Adam, and the devil and Adam called, and God spoke to Adam. God came to Adam while the devil was there, and said to Adam, "Look at Satan in his true form. Right, the one who have deceived you, that made you fall from grace." And God said to Adam, "Is God black? Is God a woman?" Understand this. Right? Their hatred for us, because we've defended ourselves after they ruled us for over 500 years. Okay, and because our ancestors drove them out of Kemet, they created this fictitious story. That's why in some of their early writings, of the Hebrew writings, right, black people are demonized. Black people are Satan. Right? And they were told that if they lust after a black woman or a black man, that is animal lust. So they consider us animals. This is where, again, you have white people who would adopt this under Constantine, right? Up until, again, the 16th century. This is what they believe of black people. This is why they can treat us the way that they treat us. Because understand that Christianity is deeply rooted in white supremacy. Right? So, that's a little history lesson for those of you who don't know. So whether you're white, you're black, go look it up. Go look it up. The truth is out there. Okay? Stop basking in the ignorance of religion. Because even in the Bible it tells you. Okay? Even in the Bible, it'll tell you that religion is superstition. And superstition is religion. Okay? Let me see. What passage is that? That's from Hosea. Hosea, is it Hosea 6 through 11, I believe? Or you can read the entire passage of Hosea. I'm sorry, Hosea 4. Hosea 4. Right? And that says, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge." But if you read the entire thing, it'll tell you that this is because of the priest and their false teaching of religion that have tricked and deceived the people is the reason why God will turn their back on them. But they don't want to read you the entire passage. Okay, let me pause. I gotta wipe my eyes. Okay? They will never read the entire passage to you because, again, it is a program that they have developed to read certain passages so they can indoctrinate your mind, right, with a belief system. How many of you actually read the entire Bible? How many of you know that within that Bible they talk about another Jesus? And I just found that out. Okay, and I've read the Bible. Somehow it's, sometimes when you read the Bible, because it's a lot of stuff in there, that some stuff bypass your mind, right? But yes, in the Bible it talks about another Jesus. And then you go do some research and you find out that there were a whole lot of Jesus around that time. Because guess what? People used to name their child Jesus because they would believe that he would be, hope that he would be turned into the Messiah. Okay? And again, even in the Bible, they tell you the Messiah isn't named Jesus. The Messiah, the coming Messiah born of a virgin, is named Emmanuel. So even, like, I used to go to church and hear them talk about, in Isaiah, that the virgin shall bore a child and his name will be Emmanuel. But then they will go to the New Testament and talk about Jesus. I love Jesus. Like, I mean, think about it. When you really come into the awakening state, this shit sound ridiculous. And then when you tell black people that the letter J wasn't invented until the late 1600s, so there was no Jesus, and then I give them the first edition of the King James Bible, and they see the name Jesus with an I, not a J, Jesus, right, which comes from Zeus. Okay? Remember, Greek was the language in which the so-called Hebrew knew. And from Greek, they created their own language and called it Hebrew. Okay? So there was no Hebrew people in those times, right? Again, this is all fictitious, right? And in the Bible, Jesus was not a Christian. He was a Jew, according to the Bible. So as black people worshiping Jesus, you should be Jewish and not Christian. Christian is a religion created by the Catholic Church. Christianity is created by the Catholic Church, not Jesus. That's why Constantine said that we, in this symbol, which is a cross that he took from Kemet, and said, we shall conquer in this, with this symbol. And there goes the conception of Christianity. And it took over 1,000 years to come up with Christianity that we know today. All right? But you people don't even want to listen. You're so goddamn brainwashed with this bullshit, not even understand the poison that you've put into the minds of the future generation, just like it was put into me. Okay? So here's another thing. Let's talk about this. Right? Since they love to use the pedophilia theme against us as TIs, these religious people, right? Why don't you say to them, right? Matter of fact, you know why? Say this to them. If you want to call me a pedophile, the God that you worship is a pedophile. Do you know the age that Mary was when God impregnated her? Right? Do you know that Joseph, who was twice Mary's age, not even twice, more than twice, he was like probably in his 30s or something like that. Mary was between the ages of 12 to 14. Right? God impregnated a child. Right? So I want you to understand where pedophilia comes from. It comes from those religious people who believe that when a woman, when a young child, a young girl reaches the age of what they call her flower stage, meaning that she goes through her, comes at the age in which she can now become pregnant, right? When her period first comes, that she is now a woman and they can marry her. They're no different from these Muslims marrying these young girls, right? Because this is what religion does to the mind of people. This is what it does. You understand? And even though as human beings we have progress and we have moved, a lot of us has moved beyond these things, right? There are still billions of people who haven't, because of their religion and because of this book these books that they believe in is the Word of God. Let me tell you something, and common sense will tell you this, right? And this I learned from Jen Fishburne. And again, she comes from a family of Jewish scholar and archaeologists, right? That when you're reading the Bible, you have to ask yourself certain things, okay? Who was the person in the Bible speaking to, right? Who was the narrator, okay? And how did the narrator got the story which he's writing about? And also, you got to look, is it talking in the first person perspective, second or third? Right? So when Jesus supposed to run up in the mountains to the cave and Satan came and tempted him, who was with Jesus to know what Jesus said and did? Because when Jesus came back down from the mountains back to his disciples, he didn't mention it to any of his disciples. So that, again, that's just one example. So I want you guys to have critical thinking. All right? These religions have not done this world any good, because there's more suffering, more wars, more strife between people who follow these religions since their inception. And again, where do they get these things from? Or at least, where did they get the groundwork in which they took and created this bastardized version? From Kemet. Our ancestors understand that nature is God, but they didn't call nature God. They never had a word for God. God is a German word. It's dog spelled backwards. Okay? Based off of the astrological symbol that is the dog star Sirius. See, our African Kemetic science, which is Kemetic spiritual belief, is the belief in nature and understanding nature, understanding the laws of nature. This is where we get physics from. This is where we get math from. Okay? They call it nature. They spell it N-T-R, or we spell it N-E-T-E-R. Nature, which the word nature comes from. It is the energy, that creative force in the universe. It isn't a man sitting in the sky looking down on everybody and picking and choosing who he likes, who he don't like, you know, who he's going to kill today, who he's going to, I should say, who he's going to let die and then or let save. Because in the Bible gods plays favorites. Okay? This is why you have black people walking around talking about they're highly favored, and then they can look at somebody who they consider to be less than them, all right, as not being favorable in the eyes of God. But then they can turn around and tell you, well, God loves everybody, right? Okay, they can turn around and tell you, well, God loves everybody, you know. Oh, thank God for giving me this job. But what about the other person that didn't get the job? That other person mindset, what they're thinking? Well, I guess God told me this job wasn't meant for me. No. Sometimes they'll give you a job because of the way you look, the way you speak, because you have a degree, or something because you don't have a degree. Right? So let me ask you this, black people. It has been proven that white men with high school degree will get the job before a black Christian with a college degree, well-spoken, right? Comes from a good family, right? And that white person who has a high school degree will get that job and make more than a black person that has a college degree, right? That's God playing favorites. Okay? So come on. Come on. Like, wake the fuck up. Wake up. Seriously. I can't put it any harsher. I don't want to put it any harsher than that. Like, wake the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, the idioticness of it, which is what you guys don't understand. And you can't see because you wallow in the ignorance that have been taught to you, that have been conditioned in your mind. Right? And when somebody comes with the truth and they show you proof, what do? You attack them. Right? You attack them. Remember, your belief system is a belief. Okay? You should want to know, not believe. And it's because because white people can discriminate against you, and your belief that God would change their mind and God would make things better is the reason why you don't do shit. Okay? Yeah, we may go and we may file a complaint or such and such or what have you, you know. But really, that's not doing nothing. I'm talking about from an economic standpoint. All these rich black pastors making all this money after these poor black people with this bullshit Christianity. What are they doing with their money? They're not buying up real estate. They're not buying up these buildings, fixing it up and saying, hey, you know what? Let's rent it out to our people, right? Give them affordable housing, right? Because guess what? As much as they love money, they will even make more money doing that. But guess what? They love white supremacy more. They love to keep you in the current position that you're in more than seeing you elevate. See, white supremacy has used them by making them believe that they are a prophet of God, or they're sanctified by God, they're anointed by God, right? But if you are anointed by God, then guess what? You should be speaking the truth to the people, not lie. Okay? You should want to understand where this belief system that you've got come from, and not just take the word of these people from and accept it as being true. I always tell you, go and do your research. Don't take what I say as truth. Go and do your research yourself and make that decision for yourself. But too much of you are too goddamn scared to do it because they got you so frightened that your soul will burn in hell. Right? They got you so frightened that your soul will burn in hell that you're afraid to even go look for the truth. This is why we're in the position we've been in, and we're going to continue to be in, and we're going to pass that shit on to our children. And they're going to suffer. And the few of you motherfuckers, and I say motherfuckers, yes, who, because you've got a nice job, you got a nice house, and you now think that you're better than the rest of us, what's going to happen when they put another Trump in office who's worse than the previous Trump? What's going to happen? Huh? Or you think God is going to work that out? Right? They have taught you to hate your own people, to not want to see, so that you don't have any social responsibility to your people. When every other group of people understand, particularly those who are wealthy, understand they have a social obligation, right, to see their people in a better position, in a better condition than they were in before. That's why these black athletes, they can go buy these big houses, live in whatever, and they can say, well, shit, I did this all by myself, bro. I don't got to give nothing back. I did this is my hard-earned work. But no, it's the people that buy your records, it's the people that come to your sports game who paid the money, right? That buy your jerseys, what have you, right? And instead of saying, you know what, let's take 10 athletes, right? 10 athletes, okay? They put together hire some real estate lawyers or what have you, some architect, send them and say, hey, you know what, let's go into the black neighborhood, let's buy some buildings. Just like all these white real estate and land real estate developers do, right? And let's give our people affordable housing, right? We'll even make more money. We'll have money to pass on to our generation for generations, because we're building true wealth. But no, they think wealth is driving a nice fancy cars, Lamborghinis, all this shit, right? And people who speak the truth, they want to attack, because again, this is white supremacy's agenda. And they understand that if they try to do anything to help us as black people, right, they're going to lose their fortune. And that's not true. That's the illusion that white supremacy want to give you, because they got you so afraid. Okay? Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. They're destroying our families. They're destroying each and every one of us. That our community is so surveilled that if a black person say, you know what, hey, I want to start a business and I'm going to just hire the majority black people, right? Which is what they do when they hire majority white people in their companies, right? To make things better for us as black people. Guess what? They will ruin every opportunity that person has. They will use every tactic to destroy that person, right? But you Negropeans, and I say Negropeans because that's what you are, right? And if you read Dr. Amos Wilson's book, the Falsification of African Consciousness, and I also talk about Fran Phantom, Black Skin, White Mask, you'll understand. This is why they have destroyed our academic scholars, and in terms of, and also kept them poor, right? Destroy whatever book deals, to where they have to come out their own pocket to to publish their own books. Some of them, end up spending their life savings to give us the information that we need, and we don't even want to read their story. Look, I wish I had somebody that was older than me teaching me these things. Now, there are some of us out there that are teaching this to their children, and trust me, I thank them, I commend them every single day, and I try to do it with my son and my kids. Okay? Every book that I have, my kids have access to it, and I tell them all the time, read it. It will serve you. It will serve you good. And see, when white people understand that you know your history and you know what white supremacy is really about, okay, this is what they'll do. And particularly if you're an outspoken black person, this is what they'll do. If you have a girlfriend or a wife, they will send white men or white women to sleep with them, to show off their wealth around them, to get them to end their relationship. If you have daughters and sons, they will use white women and white men to engage with them, talk to them, marry them, do all this shit, just so they can say, look, yeah, you first of all, I don't hate white people. I always say this, okay? There are a lot of good white people out there, but the majority of white people are not. And again, I'm speaking factual here. You can go Google, what do white people believe about race relationship in America? Is it better? The majority of white people will say yes. Then you go ask black people, what do black people believe about race relationship in America? Is it better or is it worse? And the majority of black people will say it's worse. Right? So again, that's not hate. That's the facts. Like I said, I'm not discounting. They are good white people out there. I've met some of them. Okay? So you can forget that bullshit about trying to make me out to be a racist. And like I said, I can't be a racist. I can be bigoted, and I'm not bigoted toward white people. Like I said, if you're black and you hate black people and you want to destroy the lives of black people, you want to aid in white supremacy and destroying the lives of black people, including my life, I'm going to hate you. Right? If you're Asian and you're doing the same thing, I'm going to hate you. If you're white and you want to see us as human beings, as black people do good and be respected, be treated equally, I'm going to love you if you come in with love. Okay? But I'm going to keep one eye open because I know the devil's trick. Right? So yeah, I understand what's going on. I understand what's going on. You see, they know when I flip the camera around because they'll walk past and do these hand signals. So I got to switch the camera back. And you notice how that when I switch the camera back, I mean, you don't notice because you can't see. They don't see it. You don't see it. But the minute I flip the camera, the front-facing camera, they'll stand up there and do hand signals. And I'm flipping it back, they'll move away. Okay? So yeah. So come on now. Like I said, black people, this is going to be your son. And they can show you the phone whenever they want. Like I said, they don't. If you think you got, then go to the police. Or matter of fact, the police is the one that's doing this, so they come knock on my door with a warrant. But you're not doing that. Why? Why are you not doing that? Huh? Why? Because you don't want to give me the opportunity to defend myself. And America is a democracy, right? America is a country of law, right? Law for who? This is what you have to ask yourself, black people. Law for who? Right? They didn't tell you that when they were creating these technologies to manipulate people's mind. They didn't tell you when they were creating these psychological programs to manipulate and indoctrinate you and I and our children, right? They didn't tell you when they were experimenting on you, right? They didn't tell you when they were lying about you, right? They didn't say, oh, look, we planted drugs in this person's pocket or in this person's home, right? They didn't tell you, well, this person is innocent and we have the proof to prove the person is innocent. What did they do? They kept that shit and they sent your ass to jail, your black ass to jail. Okay? So come on now. So who's the liar? Again, this is, sometimes I'm like speechless. Because we believe in the lies so much. And again, we believe. Okay? But then when the facts and the truth is presented, we look away, we don't want to understand until it happens to us. Until it happens to us, then it's like, oh my God, I know the truth now. I gotta, such and such. But why does it have to happen to you or to a member of your family to want to believe the truth? Right? Why don't you go and do the research? Right? The fact that we still here today trusting white people without giving a second thought is asinine and stupid. Or even black people themselves. We still have to question it. What's their motive? Are they getting paid? Did they somehow get a job paying them X amount? Because white supremacists will use each and every one of us because they know that they have us in a condition of poverty, the majority of us. Right? And there are a lot of us who will do anything for money. You've seen it in the past. How they use our own to destroy our Christ. Right? And I say Christ, I mean K-R-U-S-T, not the Christian Christ. I mean the Christ that is within each of us. Right? That person who come into the awareness and understanding of enlightenment. Right? Who looks at the world and the reality of it and want to make it better for their people. So Marcus Garvey, right? Nat Turner, okay? Martin Luther King, right? Malcolm X, right? Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, Minister Louis Farrakhan, right? Who else? Colin Kaepernick. See, the Christ is not just one person. Our African spiritual belief system is that each and every one of us can be the Christ, can reach that level of higher consciousness. Right? And this is what they've done to us. They have taken it out of us and put it in the sky and say it's a white man. And they show you all these pictures of these white Jesus and whatever. So when you think about Jesus, think about God, he's white. When you see a white person walking down the street, especially a white man, and the eyes of a black woman, that's their savior. Why? Because he has the economic power, right? And also because he's developed psychological program in which to trick your mind into believing that he's better than your own black man. Right? Right? While covertly destroying the lives of your men. And at the same time, elevating you to the point where you feel like you don't have to respect your own men. Right? But he's not doing that to his white woman. Because he know, and his white women know, that it is their men that's protecting them. Okay? But he knows that once he can hit our women to elevate them to the point where they don't have to listen to us, then guess what? Our attitude is going to be like, well, why should we protect you? You don't listen to us. You think you're better than us. Why should we protect you? And a lot of black women feel that way. I've been told that. I've seen it. It happened to me in my religion. Okay? They didn't want to see me. They want to see my potential. Oh, I was, I remember I was in my early 20s making something like $57,000 a year. Right? They just saw potential. Right? But they never take the time to see me. They never take the time to ask me what it is that I want. But it's always what they want. And again, this is where the division, and it's been happening for a long time. And we have to understand and realize that we have to, right? We have to get back to respecting, loving, teaching. Okay, get rid of that Christian bullshit. Get rid of all that Muslim bullshit. Get rid of that shit. That shit is not serving us any purpose, except for the few. Okay? But believe in ourselves, build together, respect each other, support each other. Right? The love will always come after. Remember, don't go by what people say, go by what they do. Watch what they do, not what they say. And I learned that very early on. Alright? But I've inherited a lot from my mother, particularly her kindness and her selflessness. And sometimes that can be a detriment to me. And it can be a detriment to all of us, because those of us who believe in this Christian bullshit, okay, we're taught to love everybody, but everybody's not taught to love us. So wake up your mind. We're the only people that believe that bullshit. Yeah, you may have white people that believe in Christ because, again, they themselves have been indoctrinated. But guess what? If you attack them, they sure as hell ain't going to turn the other cheek. Okay? They're going to come at you with everything. Alright? So understand. Do the research. That's all I ask. prove to me that Christ existed, at least the Christ in the Bible existed, right? And like I said, start by Googling the Nicene Council and the Nicene Creed. That's all. You know, and prove it. If you believe so much in this Bible and it's real, then you should be able to prove it to me. And I'm talking about not just read passages in the Bible and tell me that you believe this and that. Okay? Because it's been proven that none of the people that are in the Bible actually wrote what's in the Bible. Alright? Proven by biblical scholars. Okay? And because you don't know that, you continue to wallow in ignorance. Alright? Yeah. You see I was gonna turn off the recording, so he he got up and started looking at me, started walking. Look at these two black females over there. Look down there. Look, making their hand. Look, let me show you. They're making their hands like this. Wait, hold on. Let me flip the camera around. Right. So they're over there talking to each other, going like this. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Hey, you know, again, this is another thing. So let me tell you something, black women. If they make all of you all lesbians, okay, what's going to happen to the black population? Right? Let me ask you a question. What's going to happen to the black population? See, white people understand that their population is dwindling. And the reason why their population is dwindling? Because of feminism. And why feminism? Because feminism has been co-opted by white men in corporate America to sell women products to enrich themselves even more. And because of that, white women got into the workplace, putting off families. Sometimes because of that, they got too old, so they couldn't even have families anymore. So guess what? The birth rate of white babies went down. Right? And black women take up white feminism like, oh, that's my sister. Do you understand that the white slave master's wife was racist also? Right? Do you understand that his and her daughter would rape the black slave? And if the black slave said no to their sexual advance, what they would do? They would go and tell the master that he touched them improperly and he would get killed. Have we not seen so many videos of white women calling, lying about black men attacking them? Have we not seen that? But yet you, with these white women talking about y'all are sisters. They ain't your sisters, they're part of the agenda. Y'all just too stupid to realize it. Right? Because they got you believing that, oh, it's inclusion. It's not inclusion when you go into something and it goes against your and it's detrimental to yourself and your people and your family. Okay? But you're so googly eyes when it comes to that money, that check. Right? And then these Negropean pastors talking about God wants you to be rich. The reason why they say that, because the more money you make and the more money they push you into aspire and do all this stuff, is the more money you're going to give them when it comes to tithing. Okay? Come on, man. Y'all are so damn stupid. I'm sorry. Y'all don't even understand this is a program, as Ray Higgins says, Dr. Ray Higgins. You know, but I understand that program since when I became a target. Because again, they were telling me, right, that what they were doing and no one would believe me. I keep telling you guys, when I was early on my targeting, after being a heavy day of target, I would come home, there would be like a white man on the train, he'd be looking at me, he's looking at his son. Looking at me, looking at his son. Right? And then the subliminal message is, we're doing this for our future generation. See, they're creating all these technologies to control us for their future generation. And what are we doing to our future generations? We are participating in attacking them and destroying them. Those of us who want to come out and tell the truth. Those of us who want to create businesses for black people. And, you know, yes, some of them, say, yeah, some people have black businesses, yes. But guess what? When you look at the type of businesses that black people have as a whole, what is it? Small mom and pop shop, barbershops, small restaurants, what have you. You know, as we walk around here, oh, I got my own business. Especially black people, I got my own business. And what? The majority of them is what? Selling jewelry. Selling jewelry online. That's their business, right? Or now they have this, we selling clothes, such and such, right? No. Why you don't see an electronic company that's owned by black people? Why you don't see a technological company that's owned by black people? Right? Why you don't see a private hospital that's owned by black people? Why you don't see private schools of higher learning that's owned by black people? Because there isn't any. There isn't any. So they got you living in hell, and you're comfortable. Because like I said, look at the wealth disparity between the average white family and the average black family. The average white family is over $150,000. The average black family, what is it, like $16,000, something like that, or even less? Come on, y'all. Come on. Anyway, I'm going to end this conversation because, again, hopefully what I'm saying will reach certain people, right? Because I know for the most part, the masses, they're not even going to listen. They're going to turn their head. They're going to say, oh, this and that and such, right? Because, again, when they're able to have you living in ignorance, right, and believing in their individualism, right, then you would think everything is all right in the world because you're doing well. Meanwhile, you're not even looking at the world around you, particularly your own people. They look out for their people. We're not looking at our own people, and there's a reason. Okay?